There's a particular kind of sting that comes when a younger woman, who once seemed genuinely interested, suddenly grows cold and starts pulling away. And when you're an older guy, that sting cuts even deeper. You start wondering if it's the age gap, if it's something you said, or if maybe younger guys simply have an edge that you can't compete with. It's a blow not just to your confidence, but to your entire sense of self. You thought your life experience, maturity, and stability were your secret weapons, yet somehow they turned into liabilities. And if you've ever been in this situation, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It feels like you're playing a game where the rules keep changing, and no matter what you do, you're always one step behind. You catch yourself overanalyzing every text, replaying every conversation, and wondering where things went off the rails. The truth is, it's not just you. Many older men find themselves in this same position, making the same mistakes over and over without realizing it. The good news is, once you understand these pitfalls, you can avoid them and even turn things around if you've already stumbled. In this video, we're diving into 4 of the most common mistakes older guys make when dating younger women. And while every mistake on this list is fixable, there's one that stands above the rest as the ultimate deal breaker. Stick around to find out which one it is, and more importantly, how to avoid it. Mistake 1. Adopting limiting beliefs. One of the biggest mistakes older men make when dating younger women doesn't even start with the woman. It starts in their own minds. I'm talking about adopting limiting beliefs, those quiet, insidious thoughts that creep in and sabotage your confidence before you even say hello. These beliefs manifest as excuses, as a negative narrative that constantly loops in your head, convincing you that the deck is stacked against you. And if you're not careful, these beliefs will transform from fleeting thoughts into your reality. You've probably heard the saying, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. That quote by Henry Ford perfectly sums up the dangerous power of limiting beliefs. When you tell yourself things like, younger women only want rich guys, or I'm too old to keep up with her lifestyle, you're programming your mind to seek out evidence that supports those beliefs. This mental process is governed by something called the reticular activating system, or RAS, a part of your brain that acts as a filter between your conscious and subconscious mind. Whatever you repeatedly tell yourself, your RAS prioritizes finding evidence to prove it true. So, if you believe younger women won't date you unless you have a fat wallet, you'll naturally notice situations that reinforce this idea, even if they're not entirely true. This is why you see guys in comment sections or at the bar bitterly proclaiming that only money matters. They've fallen into a self-fulfilling prophecy. The problem is, when you enter interactions with younger women from this mindset, you're already setting yourself up to fail. She will sense the insecurity, the desperation, and the lack of genuine confidence. And nothing kills attraction faster than a man who doesn't believe in his own value. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're on a date with a beautiful young woman. Everything is going smoothly until the bill arrives. Suddenly, your limiting beliefs kick in. Instead of confidently paying or suggesting you split the bill, you fumble. Maybe you overcompensate by insisting on paying and making a big show of it, or maybe you freeze and let the moment become awkward. Either way, what she feels isn't your generosity or your maturity. It's your insecurity. The belief that I need to impress her with money has not only clouded your judgment, but also shifted the entire energy of the date. Or perhaps, even before you go on the date, these beliefs have already stopped you in your tracks. You see a younger woman making eye contact with you at a coffee shop, but instead of approaching her, you tell yourself, she's just being polite. She couldn't possibly be interested in someone my age. So you stay seated, she walks away, and your limiting belief is reinforced once again. The dangerous part is that these beliefs often disguise themselves as rational thoughts. You might convince yourself that you're just being realistic, that you're avoiding rejection, or that you're staying in your lane. But in reality, you're caging yourself in, surrendering to an invisible force that only exists in your own mind. The first step to breaking free from this mindset is to recognize when these thoughts appear. You need to catch yourself when you start thinking, I'm too old, or I don't have enough money, or she won't find me interesting. Instead of letting these thoughts dictate your actions, challenge them. Ask yourself, is this true, or is this just a story I'm telling myself? Often you'll find that it's the latter. Once you've recognized these limiting beliefs, replace them with empowering truths. Instead of saying, younger women only date rich guys, reframe it to, younger women are attracted to confidence, experience, and stability. Instead of, I'm too old to connect with her, try, I bring a unique perspective and life experience that many younger guys can't offer. This isn't just about positive thinking, it's about rewiring your brain to see opportunities instead of obstacles. A powerful exercise you can try is visualization. Picture yourself confidently talking to a younger woman, seeing her genuinely engaged and interested in what you're saying. Imagine how it feels to move through the conversation with ease, knowing your age is an asset, not a hindrance. Visualization primes your subconscious to recognize these scenarios in real life and act with confidence instead of hesitation. Finally, take action. The fastest way to dismantle a limiting belief is through experience. Start small. Initiate a conversation, ask a younger woman for her opinion on something casual, or simply practice maintaining eye contact and smiling. Each small success will build momentum, proving to your subconscious that your beliefs were wrong. Remember, the greatest obstacle you'll ever face is the one in your own mind. If you can overcome that, you're already ahead of the game. The truth is, attraction is much less about age or money, and much more about how you carry yourself. It's about the energy you bring into a room, the confidence in your step, and the certainty in your voice. And once you shed those limiting beliefs, you'll realize that the world of dating and life itself is full of opportunities waiting for you to seize them. So, with this foundational mindset in place, let's move on to the next common mistake older guys make with younger women, and more importantly, how to avoid it. Mistake 2. Having your authority usurped. One of the most subtle yet destructive mistakes older men make when dating younger women is allowing their authority to be undermined. Authority in this context isn't about control or dominance. It's about maintaining a natural sense of leadership, confidence, and composure. When this balance is disrupted, it can dramatically alter how a younger woman perceives you, often without you even realizing it. Think of it this way. One of the reasons younger women are attracted to older men is the archetype of the tribal leader. It's not just about age, it's about embodying a man who knows who he is, stands his ground, and navigates life with wisdom and strength. When that dynamic is reversed, and you find yourself on the back foot, it's a quick path to losing her interest. Let me share a story that perfectly illustrates this mistake. A friend of mine, let's call him Mike, was in his early 40s when he started dating a woman in her mid-20s. Mike had the whole package: successful career, charming personality, and a good sense of humor. One evening, they went to a lively bar, and everything seemed great until a younger guy, perhaps in his early 20s, made a snide comment toward Mike. Instead of brushing it off or handling it with mature composure, Mike took the bait. He got defensive, engaged in a back and forth with this kid, and ultimately ended up looking flustered and out of control. From that moment on, the dynamic of the date shifted. His date, who had previously been hanging on his every word, started to distance herself. By the end of the night, she was polite but distant, and they never went out again. What happened here is a textbook example of losing authority. In a single moment, Mike went from being the composed, attractive older man to someone who appeared insecure and reactive, qualities that are far from attractive. The key lesson here is that authority is not about winning every confrontation. It's about choosing your battles wisely, and more importantly, knowing when to simply walk away. In many cases, the most powerful move is to not engage at all. When a younger guy tries to undermine you, whether through words or actions, the best response is often no response. A confident smile, a dismissive nod, or even a lighthearted joke can convey that you're unfazed, maintaining your status as the mature, grounded presence in the room. Another scenario where this mistake often plays out is when you allow a younger woman to lead the dynamic of your interactions. Maybe she insists on making all the decisions or subtly tests your resolve by pushing boundaries. While it's important to respect her opinions and ideas, you must also set the tone. You don't need to dominate every situation, but you should be comfortable guiding the interaction. For example, if you're choosing a place to eat, don't always defer to her. Instead, say, "I know a great spot with amazing views. Let's go there." Simple, direct, and it shows that you're not afraid to lead. This mistake also extends to social settings where external authority figures are involved. Think about times when you might interact with a younger boss, a waiter, or even a bouncer at a club. If you allow a younger person to diminish your authority in front of her, it can shift her perception of you. She might not consciously recognize it, but on a subconscious level, it affects attraction. Women are hardwired to respond to strength and stability, and when that image is cracked, so is their interest. The best way to avoid this mistake is to practice maintaining your composure in all situations. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or pretending to be invulnerable. Instead, it's about controlling how you express those emotions. A great exercise is to practice staying calm in small, everyday annoyances. The next time someone cuts you off in traffic or when the barista gets your order wrong, resist the urge to react. Instead, take a breath, smile, and let it go. By training yourself in low-stakes scenarios, you'll be better prepared when real challenges arise. And remember, authority doesn't mean being rigid or overbearing. It's the quiet confidence of knowing you can handle whatever comes your way, whether it's a rude comment, a challenging situation, or a test from a younger woman. It's showing through your actions that you are a man of character, not easily swayed by external circumstances. When you embody this kind of authority, you not only become more attractive, but also create a dynamic where the younger woman feels safe, intrigued, and naturally drawn to your energy. You shift from being just another guy trying to impress her to being the man who sets the standard. And that is a powerful place to be. With this mistake out of the way, let's move on to the next crucial pitfall that many older men fall into and how to ensure you never make it. Mistake 3. Not qualifying her enough. One of the most common traps older men fall into when dating younger women is failing to qualify her enough. It's a subtle yet critical mistake that can shift the entire dynamic of a relationship, and not in your favor. When a man doesn't qualify a woman, he essentially puts her on a pedestal, allowing her to dictate the terms of the interaction. And trust me, nothing kills attraction faster than giving away your power like that. So, what does qualifying her actually mean? Simply put, it's about setting standards. It's showing that you have expectations, preferences, and boundaries when it comes to the women you date. Younger women are used to being pursued, complimented, and quite frankly, having men bend over backward to win their approval. When you flip the script and show that you're not just there to impress her, but that she also needs to impress you, it creates a refreshing and highly attractive dynamic. Imagine this scenario. You're on a date with a younger woman, and she casually mentions that she parties every weekend until the early morning. If you're not qualifying her, you might laugh it off, nod along, or worse, pretend to be into that lifestyle just to keep her interested. But if you are qualifying her, you might respond with something like, "I've moved past the party every weekend phase. I'm looking for someone who values balance and a bit of adventure, but who also knows when to slow down. What about you?" This approach does a few powerful things. First, it sets a standard. You've communicated what you're looking for in a relationship, which subtly signals that not just anyone can meet your criteria. Second, it challenges her to reflect on her own behavior and whether she fits into your world. And finally, it positions you as a man of value, someone who isn't swayed purely by looks or youth, but who seeks a deeper connection. Failing to qualify a woman often stems from a scarcity mindset. Older men who aren't used to dating younger women may feel like they've hit the jackpot and become overly accommodating. They might think, "I don't want to rock the boat," or "I'll just go along with whatever she wants." But in doing so, they lose their authentic voice, and over time, their attractiveness. The irony is that when you don't qualify her, you might think you're being agreeable and likable. But what you're actually doing is signaling low value. You become another guy who is too afraid to express his opinions, too worried about losing her to assert himself, and too eager to please. And let's be real. If you don't value yourself enough to set standards, Why should she? This is not about being confrontational or overly critical. It's about expressing what you like, what you want, and what you're not interested in, without apology. For example, if she mentions she doesn't like to read, and you're someone who values intellect and curiosity, you might say, "That's interesting. I love reading. It's how I keep learning and growing. What do you do to expand your perspective?" This isn't a harsh judgment, but a gentle way of communicating your values and seeing if she aligns with them. Another important aspect of qualifying her is avoiding the trap of over-validating. Many men, especially when they feel lucky to be with a younger woman, overcompensate with compliments and approval. They say yes to everything, laugh at every joke, and agree with every opinion. While it's great to be positive and supportive, if you overdo it, it can come across as desperate. Instead, be genuine with your validation. Compliment her when she truly deserves it, not just to fill the silence or seek her approval. Qualifying also involves setting boundaries. If she's late to a date, you don't need to scold her, but you can say, "Hey, I value punctuality. Let me know if you're running late next time." It's a simple statement that reinforces your standards without creating unnecessary drama. The key is consistency. Hold your ground without being rigid. Women, especially younger ones, are highly attuned to whether a man is solid in his values or if he bends at the slightest pressure. A great exercise to help you start qualifying women more naturally is to write down what you genuinely want in a relationship. What qualities do you admire? What behaviors are non-negotiable? What kind of lifestyle do you want to build with someone? When you have a clear picture of your ideal partner, it becomes much easier to recognize whether a woman meets those standards or not. Ultimately, qualifying a woman is not about being judgmental or setting impossible standards. It's about showing that you have self-respect and that you're not just looking for any woman. You're looking for the right woman. And when you do this effectively, you not only increase your attractiveness, but also set the foundation for a healthier, more balanced relationship. Now that we've covered the critical mistake of not qualifying her enough, let's dive into the fourth and final mistake, one that is often overlooked but can have a massive impact on your dating life. Mistake 4. Centering the age gap. One of the most subtle yet damaging mistakes older men make when dating younger women is placing too much emphasis on the age gap. It might seem harmless, but consistently bringing attention to the difference in age can create an uncomfortable dynamic that disrupts the natural flow of attraction. The truth is, when a younger woman decides to date an older man, she has likely already considered the age gap and made peace with it. The last thing she needs is for you to remind her of it constantly, whether directly or indirectly. It's not just about avoiding obvious comments like, "I'm old enough to be your father," or "back in my day." Even subtler cues, like acting surprised when she doesn't recognize a song from the 90s, or making playful but pointed jokes about the generational difference, can start to chip away at the connection. These remarks might seem lighthearted, but they can create a parent-child dynamic rather than a romantic one, which is a surefire way to kill attraction. Imagine being on a date, and every few minutes, your date reminds you how much younger you are. At first, it might be funny, but over time, it becomes awkward and makes you question whether the relationship is viable. The same applies when the roles are reversed. The more you highlight the age gap, the more you create a barrier instead of building a bridge. Another pitfall is when older men try too hard to bridge the gap by adopting trends, slang, or cultural references that don't align with their personality. It often comes off as inauthentic and can make you seem like you're trying to be someone you're not. Younger women are generally more attracted to the maturity, stability, and confidence that older men bring, not to someone attempting to mimic their generation. The key is to focus on the shared experiences and values that transcend age. Instead of highlighting differences, look for common ground. If she brings up a new artist or trend you're unfamiliar with, instead of dismissing it or overplaying your age, show curiosity. Say something like, "I haven't heard of them. What do you like about that in their music?" This approach keeps the conversation balanced and prevents the age gap from becoming a barrier. When you stop centering the age gap, You allow the relationship to develop naturally. You create an environment where both of you can enjoy each other's company without the weight of generational differences hanging over every interaction. Ultimately, the most attractive quality you can bring to the table is authenticity. Embrace who you are, your age included, but don't make it the focal point of your connection. With this final mistake covered, we've now unraveled all 4 major pitfalls older men often face when dating younger women. But understanding these mistakes is only half the battle. What truly matters is how you apply this knowledge moving forward. Let's wrap this up with a few final thoughts and actionable steps to help you avoid these traps and build genuinely fulfilling connections. So there you have it, the 4 critical mistakes older men often make when dating younger women. From adopting limiting beliefs that sabotage your confidence, to losing your authority in subtle ways, to failing to qualify her enough, and finally to centering the age gap and making it a bigger deal than it needs to be. The truth is, none of these mistakes are irreversible. The key lies in awareness and the willingness to make small yet impactful changes in how you approach these situations. The biggest takeaway? You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to pretend to be younger or wealthier or change who you are to attract a younger woman. What you need is to embrace your authentic self, your confidence, your experience, and your maturity while avoiding the pitfalls that can unknowingly push her away. Attraction isn't just about what you say or do, it's about the energy you bring into every interaction. When you own your value and maintain a strong, grounded presence, you naturally become the kind of man who doesn't just attract younger women, but also inspires respect and admiration from them. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever found yourself making one of these mistakes? Or maybe you've seen them play out in someone else's dating life? Drop a yes in the comments if you can relate, or a no if you've always managed to avoid these pitfalls. Your stories and experiences might just help someone else who's navigating this tricky terrain. And as always, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay confident and keep growing.